Some residents in Soweto are calling on government to step in on what they describe as the financial exploitation by the local Spaza shops. They say retailers are charging excessive card transaction fees, in some cases up to R5 a purchase. Newzroom Afrika's Ombud Lee Soobrathi is tracking the story and joins us now. Zanika, what's the latest?
Good morning, Imante. Once again, well, we have moved now to the northern suburbs of Johannesburg to speak to people who are responsible for safeguarding the interest and the rights of the consumers. I'm here in Randburg to speak to the Consumer Goods and Services Ombudsman, and just to get some answers now and more insights in terms of how illegal are these issues or acts being, done in Soweto, where we've been throughout the morning. And I'm joined now by the Ombudsman of the organization, Mr. Lee Soobrathi, to give us more insights now and more knowledge, but also whether these acts, as we've been seeing, are illegal or not. Mr. Soobrathi, thank you very much for taking time out to speak to us this morning. Firstly, before we talk about the issue of withdrawing money, let's start with this issue of adding, on the price of a product just because I'm paying on a card. Is that something that you deem legal according to your own work and responsibilities as the Ombudsman, but also what are the risks involved?
Perfect. So thank you so much for the opportunity. So we at the Consumer Goods and Services Ombud, we investigate matters in relation to the Consumer Protection Act. Remember, we are an alternative dispute resolution body, and we use the Consumer Protection Act as the first basis to determine, is it allowed? What is the resolution for the consumer? Is the consumer aware of what their rights are? And the Consumer Protection Act is quite clear, and it's Section 23 that speaks to pricing. If I'm a customer that intends on buying a product or a service, that product needs to be labeled. There needs to be a price attached to that product, and I must pay for what that price is. There's another question that basically follows. As a provider, as a supplier, am I allowed to apply a surcharge for something that I could easily pay the same price for in cash? And I know that there's guidelines on this, especially when it comes to the Payment Association of South Africa. And from our reading of that, which is also available on their website, it says that a supplier or a merchant is not allowed to charge a surcharge. So if I buy a product that's advertised for 10 rands and I get to the till and I have the option of saying, let me use my card instead of paying cash, it won't be allowed for someone just to tell me, because I'm using a card, I'm going to charge you 2 rand or 3 rands more. Yeah. So it is not allowed currently in South Africa for a surcharge to be applied for goods and services that are purchased as a result of using a different medium in order to make that purchase.
Let's talk about the parts or areas which people can explore to report such cases, and what kind of help will they get from the organization as the Ombudsman, but also how do we hold those Spaza shop owners or retailers accountable for this such price, which you have legally termed according to the legislation of the country?
We have a very I would say, important position in the whole dispute resolution process. We have been mandated by the auspices of the Consumer Protection Act. We report to the National Consumer Commission. And these practices, once they are complained about, once consumers start to complain about these things, we detect these things as trends. And the National Consumer Commission will then explore these trends to determine what practices are suppliers applying when it comes to the supply of goods and services. So as long as you are supplying goods or services to a consumer as defined by the Consumer Protection Act, and if you are engaging in any conduct that's deemed to be prohibited, that would naturally go through the process for the Commission to investigate it, and like you mentioned, bring suppliers to task on that issue.
All right, Mr. Soobrathi, thank you very much, sir. Let's hang in there for now. We'll continue this conversation just after, as we link back to the studio. So that's the situation. We can confirm that according to Consumer Goods and Services Ombudsman, what we've been seeing in Soweto, but also experiencing personally, is deemed illegal. However, there are options which consumers themselves, in this case, the residents, can explore in terms of reaching out to the Consumer Goods and Services Ombudsman. So that's where we'll leave things here for now. It's back to you in studio, Iman.
Thanks, Ombud Lee Soobrathi, and really important information for community members to know then. The question is, what will they do next?